Hey, what's up everybody? Nexel here. Today we are playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and it is my turn to make a video talking about the new Toy Story collaboration that we've got going on here. So this video is going to have 3 parts. It's going to talk about the Toy Story Land collaboration event, then we'll move down to the daily login bonus, the Toy Story boosters, finally wrapping up the video talking about the 2 new 7-star deals that we've got going on. So let's go ahead and move into our first notice where we talk about the collaboration event. Now, this is super sweet because it is a free medal. So we'll get to that in just a second. Let's go ahead and read through this thing. So the rewards for this event are going to be some new Jessie medals, a magic mirror. I don't remember if it's just one magic mirror and that's why they didn't put the S at the end of mirrors. Not sure. I got to double check. And then some EXP medals here as well. We're going to get the whole month to do all 7 of these quests, and each quest that you complete where you defeat all the enemies in one turn, you're going to get a Jessie medal for a total of 7 Jessie medals. And again, 7 is the magic number of medals you need in order to guild something without needing a Mickey and Brooms, or in order to unlock its special attack bonus. For people that don't know what the word guilting is, because that was definitely a JP thing that did not get translated into English the correct way. Alright, so moving on to our discussion of the Jessie medal, which is awesome because it's a free medal, and who can ever argue with free medals that don't require you to pull, that don't require you to pay anything. So I can really appreciate a free medal no matter what the medal is. Moving down to the description of the medal, it is going to be upright blue, which is awesome because I love upright blue. Upright blue is a great support slot in a lot of different blades, such as like Starlight, Stroke of Midnight, Counterpoint obviously has upright blue, Fairy Stars has upright blue. So upright blue is really solid in the in most of the Keyblades just because it's in a great support slot. The medal, we'll talk about its 2 different parts. So the first part is going to be for 1 turn, decreases the target's upright defense and reverse defense by 1. So I think that's a really solid skill to have, especially for a free medal that costs nothing to activate. There aren't too many medals out there that will give this kind of ability. Granted, it's not nearly as good as any of the prime medals, which will decrease like upright or reverse defense by at least 4. So it's not as good as that, but again, it's a free medal. No one can complain. You know, if you get extra attack on this thing, it's going to be -2 upright defense and -2 reverse defense for the turn. And that's just really, really good. So there's not much to complain about that being part of the skill, even though it's not better than what's out currently. But overall, I think it's really great because there aren't too many medals that do that. So the Prime medals do that. The HD Zack medal does that. The Armor of Ericus does that. But those last 2 only decrease it by 1. So it does the same amount of decreasing as the Jessie medal. Granted, the Jessie medal is not an attacking medal, so it's not as damage dealing as like HD Zack or Armor of Ericus. But the fact that it does offer the same skill at, again, no cost, it's a free medal, is super fine with me. Lastly, the medal is going to fill 3 gauges. Now, this can be really useful for people that, you know, are still having a hard time with like gauge management. They don't plan on using like Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 2 Kairi, they don't have KHUX Plus, they don't have KHUX, they don't have Xion EX. So for people that don't have that, this is a really solid way of increasing your special attack gauges in order to, you know, unleash further special attacks down the line. Especially with PvP as a thing, there's going to be a time where they're going to give us 7 blades for use in PvP, or at least they designed the system so that it could be 7 blades for PvP. And the fact that there might be 7 blades means you're going to have to do 7 different setups, and I can see how this could fit in well in at least one of them, considering that you might not have a bunch of medals to just scatter around your different Keyblades and get the right setups that you need. So to have something that fills gauges, that decreases upright and reverse defense, that can be very, very useful for a lot of different people down the line, especially for people that might have to turtle up an event and they need something to consistently restore gauges. Things of that sort. So even if you get like extra attack on this, that's going to make it that much better of a medal. So I just think it's a really solid medal overall. It's great that it's free because that means a lot of people have access to it. Like I did this event with my free-to-play account, had very little trouble doing it. So I'd like to hope that means a lot of other people, even new players, might not have as much trouble completing this event. Alright, what else did I want to talk about with the Jessie medal? So I was checking it out on my free-to-play account. Unfortunately, I don't think it's the kind of medal that you would want to evolve to 7 stars if you have better options. So there are definitely better options to evolve to 7 stars over this medal. Things such as like Psy-XB, any of the tier 3 high score challenge medals are going to give that upright strength if you evolve it or reverse based on what the alignment of it is. So I definitely think this falls towards the wayside when it comes to evolving it to a 7 star versus something else that can be more useful for you down the line, or something that can give at least upright strength. Alright, so that's all I really wanted to talk about with this medal. It's a solid medal. Again, it is free, and nobody can complain about things that are free because all you gotta do is just work for them, and that's pretty much all it requires you to do. Moving on to the second part of the collaboration, which is going to be these daily login bonus Toy Story boosters. Now, again, I haven't collected it on my main account yet, but I collected it on my free-to-play account. And essentially, every day from now until the end of July, we are going to get a Toy Story booster as part of our presents for the day. And each one is going to give 1%, or at least the first one that they gave out today only gave 1%. So that means every day until that 31st day, we're going to get plus 1% on Toy Story medals. So that means right now for Jessie and Buzz and Woody, those are the ones that we have right now. Maybe they'll release some later down the line, like, I don't know, Prime Mr. Potato Head, that'd be pretty dope, or like Prime Zurg, that'd be pretty awesome too. So maybe that's what's down the line in order to make use of this booster a little bit more. So I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's like foreshadowing what sort of medals we're going to be getting down the line. If there's going to be more Toy Story medals, I would love more Toy Story medals. I would love to just have a collection of Toy Story medals. But again, that's just a hope and dream that we can talk about. So as with most of the past months, boosters are going to be super important, especially for things like PvP, since the Toy Story medals, you know, they're kind of all over the place in terms of attribute. You can put them in a lot of different places and still receive benefit from that booster. And boosters are pretty much where the meta is going. I mean, new boosters were part of the Kyrie EX Plus, where I think it's 80% boost to the special attack gauge. So this is not something to laugh at, because plus 31% on something, even if it's at the end of the month, can be pretty game-changing for the damage that some of these medals are cranking out. Alright, so that's the quick part about boosters. Let's move on to pretty much the beef of this video, which is going to be the Woody and Buzz 7-star Prime deal. So let's give it a quick read, and then I'll give my analysis of it. So it is 2 different banners, and let's see here. It is going to be Prime Woody and Prime Buzz. You're going to get the 7-star version of them within 5 draws. So again, if you get it on the second one, that means the counter is going to reset. You're going to have to do 5 more in order to get another one. So again, it's within 5 draws. That's the keyword is within there. You're also guaranteed to receive a 6-star version of Prime Woody or Prime Buzz each time you draw from these deals. And then you can use those. Again, since you can use a 6-star to give a 7-star trait, you can use those 6 stars if you pull into the 7-star and give that 7-star some awesome traits. Let's see. Moving down the line, you're also going to get 1 7-star tier 4 that is guaranteed every time you draw, as well as 3 magic mirrors. So they do include the disclaimer, please note that these medals are only available for a limited time and will not appear in future deals until further notice. So what I'm willing to bet is that I think that means until the Toy Story collaboration's over, essentially. I think it means we have pretty much until the end of the month to get Woody and Buzz, and then they're probably going to go away pretty much indefinitely until they release something like Toy Story 4. So that's pretty much my interpretation of what that means. When you receive the Prime Medal, or you get the 6-star version and evolve it to the 7-star rarity, it's going to have 5 trait slots. It's going to be able to be boosted with Chips and Dales up to plus 2,000 strength and defense, and then it will gain an increased special attack bonus buff as part of its special attack. So we will go through that a little bit later. So here's the campaign period. Again, you have all month, which is a really, really long time to decide if you want to pull for this, essentially. Let's see. We already talked about the 5-draw Mercy 7-star pull. But this is an important note here. So if you pull 5 or 4 times from one banner and then a 5th time from the other banner, those counters don't stack. So for example, if you pulled 3 times into the Woody banner and then 1 time into the Buzz Lightyear banner, you're not guaranteed to receive the 7-star from either of the banner if you pull that 5th time. It has to be 5 pulls from the same banner. So 5 pulls from the Prime Woody or 5 pulls from the Prime Buzz Lightyear in order to guarantee that 7-star on the 5th pull. Let's see, we talked about all this stuff already. There is a chance to get either of the medals boosted, so either the 6-star or the 7-star version can come boosted, which is super nice. It's always a nice little bonus there. And then here is the ability, pretty much the what the medal does. Let's see. So let's go ahead and talk about these prime medals here. So pretty much the Woody and Buzz are the speed and power version of Prime Key Art 17, which I didn't get to talk about because, again, it was while I was on vacation, but it is a really sweet ability. So let's go ahead and read through both of them, and then I'll just talk about them a little bit more. So the either medal is going to deal 4 hits, and for 1 turn, it's going to increase upright strength by 3 if you have the 7-star version. It's going to increase the medal's attribute strength by 4. So for example, if you have the Woody, it's going to be speed strength up by 4. If you have the Buzz, it's going to be power strength up by 4. And then it is going to decrease the target's defense by 4, the upright defense by 4, and then again the specific attribute defense by 4. So again, if it's Woody, it's speed defense down -4. If it's Buzz, it's power defense down -4. And then it's going to be a special attack bonus of plus 60%, and then it also has the focusing damage where it does more damage with 1 enemy left. The 6-star version is pretty much going to be the same thing, except it's going to not give you, so it won't give you the upright attack strength up, and then it won't give you a special attack bonus plus 60, it's only going to be plus 40. So honestly, I really like this mechanic. I loved it on Key Art 17, and that's why I pulled for it. The focusing damage is just so good. The ability to scale damage where you're either hitting everything for a solid multiplier or you're hitting one thing for a very, very high multiplier has very good flexibility for things such as like raids, where you've got, you know, parts to the raid boss and then you've got the raid boss's body. You know, you'll destroy the parts with the AoE effect, and then once you get down to just the body, you're going to hit it with massive damage. That's really, really good. It's also good for Coliseum because in Coliseum they have a number of rounds where you're facing multiple enemies, and then the last enemy you face is just a single enemy. So to have that kind of scaling damage where it just focuses on how many enemies are left can be really, really good in order to crank out some extra damage. Let's see here. So we're looking at the 7-star version right now with these giant multipliers where it's like 21.71 if it's hitting for area of effect, or I'm sorry, like AoE where it hits all of the enemies, and 31.92 where it is hitting just one enemy. But that's not to say that the 6-star version, once it's guilted, won't be useful. So while it's not meta to use 6 stars, it's still really good because, again, you maintain most of the what the medal does, its ability. Granted, the damage is what's not as good. The special attack bonus isn't there. The upright strength up isn't there. But it's still a solid medal even at 6 stars because it still provides a lot of buffs. So if you're one of those people that just can't get like the 7-star versions of stuff, you know, you don't really like PvP, so you don't play and you're not getting the tier 4 blue fairies, it's still a really good choice to have this as a buffer. So what else? Yeah, so really that's what I wanted to talk about mainly with these medals. I really like the effect. I really like that focusing damage. I like that it gives you just this slew of buffs where pretty much if you copy it once, you've got almost max buffs for a specific attribute. So if you copy, let's say, Woody, you're going to get, and then you copy the 7-star version, you're going to get upright strength by 6, speed strength by 7, decrease the target's defense by 7, general defense by 7, upright defense by 7, speed defense by 7, and then you're also going to get that special attack bonus plus. It's just really, really good, and all you need is just one copy of it in order to make it just super powerful. So I think it's really, really good. It hits all enemies as opposed to like Illustrated Axle Prime, which only hits one enemy. And I really love the effect. It is definitely one of my favorite effects out there so far in this entire game. Let's see, I talked about most of what I wanted to say when it comes to the actual notice itself. Let's go ahead and move to what is arguably one of the most important parts when we're talking about any banner, is the draw odds. So if we scroll down to our general medals, again, this is going to be your non-guaranteed medal. So it is going to be the 8 other medals that aren't the guaranteed tier 4 7-star or the 6-star Woody or Buzz. So with that, you got pretty much like a 1% chance of getting the tier 7 version of Prime Woody or Prime Buzz Lightyear on any of those other non-guaranteed medals. So that's really, really solid. That's like 1 in 100 people is going to get an additional Woody or Buzz Lightyear 7-star Prime. And I think that's just honestly a really, really good chance right there. If we move down to our 6 stars, so let's see, let's scroll down. Let's scroll down again. Keep scrolling. Here we go. Okay, so you have like a 1.3% chance of a random 6-star being an additional Woody or Buzz, and that's just really, really good. That's a little bit more than like 1 person per 100 people that's going to get an additional 6-star Prime Woody or Buzz. Moving down to the guarantees. So where's the guarantees? These are getting really, really long with the introduction of 7 stars. So if we look at the guaranteed 7 stars, you are going to get, again, pretty much like a 1.1% chance of that guaranteed 7-star being Woody or Buzz. So again, that's like roughly a little bit more than 1 every 100 people. And then, let's see here, kind of a very important point to make is that there's a 1.4% chance that the guaranteed 7-star is going to be either Prime Illustrated Axle or Prime Key Art 17. So that's just really, really good in my opinion. That is a solid like 2.5% chance that the guaranteed 7-star you're gonna get is gonna be one of the new Prime medals, and I think that's just honestly really, really solid. Let's see, moving down to the last part, which is gonna be the guaranteed Woody or the guaranteed Buzz. There's almost a 10% chance of you pulling a boosted version, and that's really good. That's pretty much, if you're doing some rounding here, that's like 9 out of 100 people, when they pull, are gonna get a boosted 6-star version. So honestly, I like the draw odds for this. Are they perfect? No, but considering what you can get from them and the chance, you know, that's really, really good. And if you're super lucky, you know, you can get multiple, like, Buzzes and Woodies in the same pull. And if you do, congratulations. Alright, so let's wrap up my thoughts on this banner just really, really quickly. So what do I think of it? Well, the first point I want to make is that PvP is still pretty rampant. I think that if you're not ranking well in PvP, then it's kind of the game's way of like slapping you in the face, to be honest, because people that are winning at PvP are getting stronger exponentially with the more 7-star tier 8s, tier 7s, tier 6s, whereas people that can't rank that high or aren't that lucky and get like the high-end tiers from the silver tickets, you know, they're getting left behind, and I think that really sucks. But these medals are great for PvP. They are fantastic for PvP because they have, again, that focusing damage. So there's only one enemy, so they're eating pretty much all of that multiplier. They're going to give you a plethora of buffs. Again, remember, if you copy one of these alone, that's almost maximum buffs right there. So with PvP still running rampant, I really do like these medals. I love their effect. Again, that's why I pulled into Key Art 17, because I just thought the effect was too good. Overall, I do like Key Art 17 better because Upright Blue, like I said with the Jesse medal, just has way more slots. So it's better to show with example than just talk about it. So moving down our Keyblade list, you know, Starlight, it has Upright Blue in that first slot there, and that's like a supportive slot. Divine Rose has it in the 3rd and the 4th slot, so those are 2 supportive slots because you can go, like, let's say HD Nominee here and to Key Art 17 there. Stroke of Midnight has a blue supportive slot right there, And then, whoops, wrong button. And then Fairy Stars, you know, it has a blue supporter slot right there. So that's why I still think KeyArt 17 is a little bit better in comparison to these two. But again, go with what your best setups are. So if you have a fantastic Fenrir setup, you know, go for the Buzz Lightyear. If you have a fantastic Sleeping Lion setup, go for the Woody. You know, go with what works best for what you've got right now. Because there's no point in you getting something that isn't useful to you immediately. You know, you can try and future-proof everything you want, but if they release something better, then it's like, well, all my plans just got foiled right there. So go with what works best for you. I do still like KeyArt 17 better than Woody or Buzz overall, but if I had to pick between Woody or Buzz which one is the better one, I'd probably give it to Buzz Lightyear, just because I feel like the only two good places for Woody would be like... See, I can't even say Dark Gnaw because Dark Gnaw is like a reverse Keyblade. Pretty much like Treasure Trove and Fenrir, which are the mono red blades. So it's kind of hard for me to say that Buzz is better. Buzz does have, or I'm sorry, Buzz is the power version. I think that Woody is better. Sorry, I keep mixing up the two in my head. I like Woody better because Woody is upright green, and upright green, as a lot of people know, has a fantastic 5th slot in Fairy Stars regardless of boosters. So I'm sorry if I mixed that all up. I meant to say, you know, Woody is the speed version, Buzz is the power version, and yeah, so that's pretty much what I want to say about talking about those two. Another thing I want to say about this is that you have plenty of time to decide. If you're not too worried about being competitive, you know, you have all month to decide if you want to pull on these banners. Don't rush into it if you don't need to, because you never really know if they're going to drop a better banner during this month. So some of the things I thought about, let's say, you know, they released a Mercy Kyrie EX Plus banner, you know, and if you spend all your jewels on this, then you won't have any jewels for that, and if you don't have Kyrie EX Plus, then you're going to be falling behind pretty exponentially throughout the months. So don't spend it right away, because you never know if something better is going to come. There's no way if they're going to make a comparative or better banner during this time. Like, let's say they make reverse versions of, like, KeyArt 17 / Woody / Buzz. You know, if they make that and you like the reverse stuff better because you have things like Prime Illustrated Axel, you have Sephiroth EX Plus. If you have that kind of stuff, then that could be more useful to you to pull for the reverse ones if you have better reverse medals. But that does come with a trade-off. If you hold off on pulling, you know, you're getting less value time with those medals. So if you're competitive, again, you're missing out on PvP if you don't use these medals. If you don't pull them early, you're not able to use them during the weeks that you don't have them, essentially. So it's kind of like, pick your poison. You know, do you pull later? Do you want to pull later? Do you want to wait for if something's better coming? Or do you want to pull now and get the maximum amount of value you can by using it immediately? That's the part where it's kind of up to you. It's kind of hard for me to say if I recommend it because of that, like, tilting scale right there. What else do I want to say? These medals get the booster. That's the big part. So there is a booster that we talked about earlier, and to get that extra 30% on Buzz or Woody can be very, very substantial, especially if you get fantastic traits on them like damage in raids, ground, or aerial. That extra 30% damage is going to cover you for a lot of different things. So if you don't need to pull, or if you're not competitive, you know, wait it out. Again, you've got like a full month. There isn't even a high score challenge announced for it yet, so if they're not high score challenge medals, that's kind of going to decrease their value overall. And that's all I gotta say. You know, there was a lot to talk about with this, and I'm pretty sure there's probably something I've missed talking about it in my analysis. But if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, just feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I would be happy to help in any way that I can, provide recommendations. You know, if you have something to say that I missed in my video, I'd love for you to put it in the comments below so that we can keep stacking all this information, so that way when people watch this video, they'll be able to see pretty much as they possibly can before making a decision. So that's all for now. And let's go ahead and put this as our final screen to look at before we head out here. So as always, everyone, until the next video, take it easy.